Well, hello. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing? How are you all doing? It's good to see you all. I hope you're all doing well. And as you know, this show is very appropriate because you know how these shows work. This is not your traditional show. There's no TV reviews, there's no watch alongs, there's no gaming. This is simply a sit down with the Weekly Steelchair. So basically, we can sit here for a couple hours, talk pro wrestling, anything you want to talk about, past, present, future, as if the business has one. Anything in general, we can sit and talk about for the next couple hours and have some fun. And that's the way it goes. It's cooking. Roisin, hello. Glenn, what's happening? Maria, same to you. Zodiac. Can I hit the money drop? It's good to see you all. Fernando, I know he's in as well. I was looking at the chat on YouTube on the phone before I came in, and PC decided to weirdly change all my resolutions and all that shit, so I had to change up. So I had to do things the right way and say fuck the lot of it, and that's the way it goes. Zodiac, I'm already making you laugh, and wrestling is forever. That is true. And to answer the question, which pipe bomb was better? Still the original. 2011 because it's authentic. 2025, I said it on the last show and I stand by it, which was last night. That is literally just a way to remind people that it existed, you know? Like it was bound to happen. So when you think about what's going to happen this weekend, I mean, I'm not going to watch, but I'm going to guess to predict it. I'm going to guess the finish now, and then you guys can tell me. We're going to have the same back suplex finish from Night of Champions 2012, but we're going to have a Money in the Bank 2011 kind of exit where CM Punk is flat on his arse and someone gets a kiss blown. The only thing is, if it was Cena, I would be like, just kidding. But I would shoot his title out of his hand. So to answer your question, which pipe bomb was better? Punk's. Because for Punk it feels more real. For Cena, it's a parody of a promo that was simply to explain issues, whereas Cena's doesn't really explain an issue. The only thing Cena's has is different is Cena's proven the point that we've been saying about Punk all along, that Punk's the biggest hypocrite that ever lived from a pro wrestling perspective. And I will take that with me the whole way through. Exactly, Zodiac. I still don't think it's enough to say this, and people are still going to think I'm going to come along with this feeling and I'm going to be harsh, but or I'm going to hate everything, but it's not the case. I'm just saying it from where it comes from. It comes from here. Cena can do the absolute best shit of his entire career, and this heel turn to me means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's not being good. The product isn't worth a shit out of a stick, and it doesn't feel like that. You know, like I want to feel like I'm being treated to something good. But hey ho, we've already been told our opinions don't matter, so that's why I'm not talking about any product. But you guys, on the other hand, can ask whatever you want. We're gonna keep talking, and we're just gonna have fucking fun. I don't think Cena drops to Punk though. I don't think they'll have two title changes on the same show. Bear in mind, it's a glorified house show. You'd be surprised if you get more than one title change. For Chad Gable, yeah. Yeah, I see it. I need to sort this. I need to sort an intro and outro video for the steel chair. I want to make a few wee tweaks. Yes, he's injured. He's got surgery booked already. Well, not booked, but he's got surgery scheduled already to go. So that'll be him very, very shortly. Which is actually a good thing. I'd rather someone go and get... This thing I've got issue right now with people is if you've got a surgery, see, instead of fanning about, go and get it. Because if you keep prolonging on your body, you're a fucking moron. It doesn't make me respect you anymore if you fight through a serious injury for like a month or so just to delay it for the sake of it. No, your health matters more. If you've got an injury and needs surgery, go. From what I know, from one of his matches recently, I think it's a follow-up from what happened a couple of weeks ago. But it's just piling up on him. As far as I'm aware, people are saying he's been injured for a while. Apparently he's been hanging it for a while. Sorry to exclude Mexico or the UK. Don't worry, I would exclude them too. I'm just not as familiar with those wrestlers, but all-time Survivor Series 5-on-5, Team USA versus Team Canada. Okay. Well, let's make it very quick, easy, and straight to the point. Stone Cold, Taker, The Rock, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles versus, and I can say it now. I don't care. I'm just gonna say it now. Team Canada, Brett, Owen, Piper, Benoit, Kenny Omega. Draft them in for one show only, just so they can have a crack at their heroes. But there you go. Team USA versus Team Canada. In fact, no, to be fair. Actually, I'm realising I'm skipping a couple because that's a difficult one. Because not just Edge, but there's Josh Alexander, Christian Cage as well. Bobby Roode. I might have to go back on this. I think it's easy to do America, but not Canada. Apart from Brett and Owen. I've seen some of the card for Dynamite, but not all of it. I can check for you, though. I don't mind checking. Free monitors has to be put to use somewhere. Golden Girls actress Lynn Hamilton has died. Oh, that's a shame. Right now, yes. 100% right now, yes. But in terms of like overall, no. But still quality. To be fair, I like both, so it doesn't really matter to me. What are your thoughts on Lanny Poffo? I'm going to give you the most honest answer of them all. Doesn't get talked about enough. Like, doesn't get talked about in a way that really deserves it. Now, the card, though, to be fair, he's never going to get talked about, though. And you know why. And it's not his fault. Like, it's really not his fault why he will never get talked about. To be fair, he was a brilliant manager. But they put him with the wrong person. I actually think he should have been with the Mountie, another great Canadian wrestler. If we're doing just Team USA versus Team USA versus Team Canada from just WWE from all I've seen. My two teams are very interesting. Yeah, Cody's turning heel very shortly. I think he'll be fully turned by SummerSlam. The Rock, on the other hand, The Rock was involved, but The Rock didn't get his own way. That's true. But then again, though, he ended up being good. Like, the genius managerial gimmick was really good. I feel bad for Canadians, though, because TNA's gone back to streaming live on YouTube, except Canada. Right, let's see. So, I mean, you could, but it's already past that. I think he'll turn heel against Cena. Although, to be fair, if he turns heel against Randy Orton, that would maybe work. So, Maria, there's two Fatal 4-Ways for the number one spots of the Casino Gauntlet, which makes no sense why you would want to be number one anyway. Kota Ibushi versus Trent Beretta is also listed. And the Hurt Syndicate are scheduled to appear. That's all that's physically listed. And here we go. Sports Illustrated may be slightly better because they'll have a little bit more. Is there anything else? Doesn't look like it. Nah. Nothing. But aye, this is this type of show tonight is literally just for you guys to ask or say whatever you like. And it doesn't matter what we talk about, it can be current or long time ago. Okay, Team Canada, captained by Kurt Angle, Stone Cold, Taker, Ric Flair, AJ Styles. Team Canada, Bret Hart, Edge, Kenny, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho. Okay, so for me then, it goes for the guys you've just mentioned, except I'm replacing Ric Flair with The Rock. But then also, that leaves room for someone potentially like a Mr. Perfect or Cactus Jack. Whereas Team Canada, I'm going Bret, Jericho, Edge, the Mountie, and I'm going... so now I need to determine between three. It's between Roddy, Christian, or Piper, Christian, or Owen. Because he was a much more effective specialist in the tag, I'm going to go with the Mountie. I actually think he's so underrated. Nobody gives him enough flowers. The Mountie. Team UK is easy because Drew McIntyre will try to take control as the captain and he gets put in his arse. Oh yeah, 100%. The American team pretty much speaks for itself. Like, realistically, if you look at an American team, it's so easy to make an American team that's just WWE. I'm just proud that all of us have not listed so far from a team mention. No one's listed Hulk Hogan. I'm so proud. So damn proud. Because fuck the Hulk Hogan. But you know who else actually would be good for a Team America? That's what I'm saying. I thought he was a decent Intercontinental Champion, but I enjoyed the Mountie for his tag team wrestling. That's why I list him in this team, because the Mountie is one of the best tag team wrestlers. Doesn't get enough praise at all. Sorry, I never considered him once. Macho Man, mm, team wise, you've got more luck of punching Donald Trump in the face. Sting, mm, so many. Oh, of course. That was all it was for, because Brett didn't want to drop to him. Well, he didn't want to drop to Piper, but he dropped it to Mountie, which is a good idea because the Mountie was just establishing himself as a single. I don't think Vince really did enough for him though, which is a shame because he wasn't a bad wrestler at all. Oh, it would be Murder She Wrote Zodiac. It would be Murder She Wrote. There was actually quite a lot of wrestlers from that time that you could sit back and just enjoy, and you'd be like, "Yeah, you work for me." You always need to have those types of talents, like even like Rick Martel, brilliant tag team wrestler. Tito Santana, not particularly from that area, but he was a great tag wrestler. Ted DiBiase, a Survivor Series machine. There's so many that you could realistically include in a team. I mean, mind you, if you put Ted DiBiase, then you have to be prepared to go to prison as well. But too soon. Harley Race, Junkyard Dog, they were all good. They were all good in the team roles. What's that? Bleach. Bye. Simply, we are having fun, just talking anything in general, and we're doing it with a very appropriate screen meme. Yeah, he's from Newcastle. If you have a British team, for me, it's William Regal as captain, British Bulldog, Drew McIntyre, Pac, and Fit Finlay. I'm pretty sure he's Northern Ireland, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure he's Northern Ireland. I think we may get one or two surprises, yes. Particularly a return or a debut. Yeah, Northern Ireland. Yeah, he'd definitely be in my Team UK. Don't you just miss Vince McMahon? Not really. I don't miss him. Alright, 2 seconds. I'm going to really go and kill someone. hate human beings sometimes. Not you guys. Yous are fine. Don't worry, I didn't put him in either. He wouldn't be teaming anyway. He would try and take the whole team out. Ooh. Hmm. Is this current era or all time? I don't watch. Hmm. Oh, all time. Ooh. We might be in good business here. Interesting. Okay, let's see. World champion, light heavyweight champion, tag champion, and women's champion. Okay, let's see. My women's champion is. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Honest to God, I fucking hate the noise. I'm here, guys. I'm sorry. When they fight, it's a fucking nightmare. But to answer your question, this actually does make sense. But you asked a very interesting question, and I'm going to give you the answer. So I've got my own promotion. I've got a world champion, a light heavyweight champion, a tag champion, a women's champion. My women's champion is Deonna Purrazzo. Her first opponent is Bull Nakano. My tag champions, my tag team champions are Legion of Doom or Road Warriors, whichever way you prefer to call them. And their first opponent is the Brainbusters. My light heavyweight champion, is Jushin Thunder Liger, and his first opponent is a fatal four-way. Welcome, Popcorn. Hope you're doing well. Smooth, good to see you. Jushin Thunder Liger, and he has 5 opponents in a 6-pack challenge. His first opponents are Taka Michinoku, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, Matt Sydal, and last opponent Gregory Helms. Hey, Billy. Not technically Wild West mode, but just gunslinging is so interesting. Brainbusters are a great team. My world champion is Bret Hart, and his first opponent, not kidding, his first opponent is Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, Bret Hart, 100%. And if Jey Uso tried to super kick me, I would lock him in an anaconda vice, and I would tell him that he means nothing. Simply put. I wouldn't know what fatal four-way you're talking about, so I'm useless to you. Sorry. I wouldn't know what you're talking about. What's up, Nippin? The big boot's forgotten. The big boot hasn't been good since Test died. To say it respectfully. Steel chairman of the board. So do I. Like, Zodiac gets me. Absolutely. For what? Too many little guys for what? I'm from Scotland, mate. I know plenty of Irish people, though. It was a women's fatal four-way. Winner gets a shot at the NXT Women's title. All right, okay. Depends on who you're giving the chair to. Oh, to be fair, you're only using the big boot for big people, like Test. You're Irish. Awesome. Hold on, someone's shouting me, and this is not going to end well. This will be literally 2 minutes. Put some questions in the chat. Anything you want to ask. When I come back, I'm going to come through and answer them as best I can. Or I'll give you the answers I think you might like. He's a challenge, but we get there. 50 films? I don't think so. That's an awkward thing. X-Pac was great in his day. Kurt Angle, MJF, Danielson versus Taka Michinoku, LOD versus Brett and Owen, Women's Champion Cow versus Gail Kim. Alright, I can see that. Have you watched the Cody Owens interview? It's hilarious. In ways, yeah. Which part's tight? If anything, these are our choices. Like, what are you getting so annoyed for? Well, if anything makes you want to switch off SummerSlam, then that works. Travis Scott makes me want to switch everything off. You keep your eyes off the ass, boy. Oh, that sounds so bad. So I found something interesting, and I'm going to spark a riot. Before I spark this riot, I want you guys to be very honest. To be fair, I hate on both of them because I think they both suck. I don't like Travis Scott, and I definitely don't like Logan Paul. So here's a question for all of you, and I want you to be honest first. So put in the chat either a tick or a cross. If you're a fan of what culture, put a tick. If you're not a fan, put a cross. And I'll wait till y'all answer first. I don't know, Nippon. I don't know. Zodiac, fantastic. Bleach, phenomenal. Great answer. No, this is black and white. Either you hate them or you don't. I listen to Simon Miller review Dynamite while waiting for you sometimes. That's alright. Simon Miller's a decent guy. I've met him. He's a nice bloke. But I'm talking about just in general. If you like them or not. If you're a fan of what culture, put a tick in the chat. If you don't like them, put a cross. Because I might have to start a very interesting riot. Intriguing one from Bleach. Top man, Billy. So here's one that yous are all gonna like. If you're a fan of Karrion Kross, put a tick in the chat. Like a check mark. Some people call it a tick, some people call it a check mark. Phenomenal. So what culture put up an article yesterday? And this comes from Wade Keller as well.
Tell me what you think of this. Karrion Kross won't take bumps, so WWE won't push him. Who deserves more credit for making Cody, Seth Rollins, or Roman Reigns? Randy Orton. You could say Shawn Spears did more for him. If we're being generally honest, who deserves more credit? It's Randy Orton. Even before then, like in terms of like people buying into him, people bought into him after the Nick Aldis match. People bought into him with his stupid booking of Jericho. His Double or Nothing match against Dustin. I think realistically they all have a part to it. Like Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, they have their parts to it as well. You could arguably say Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins never built or helped another superstar that was meaningful. Sure about that? For quite a while. But he also got him in the main event scene in 2013. He was. His upper arm is practically gone, Karrion Kross. Like, upper arm to his clavicle is practically gone on the right side. I would never say Austin Theory was established, though. The Buddy Murphy... he's more established now, getting away from them. Braun Breaker... Bronson Reed's an interesting choice. It's not easy. It's not. If he falls flat, he will break his arm. But that's a fact. If he falls flat, he will break his arm. Because he's absolutely ruined up there. But yeah, so for all the time we have missed, we will keep going. So don't worry. Braun wasn't fully established though. But I get what you're saying. Now, maybe a different type of word. A different type of word, but yes, Smooth. You're correct. He absolutely did nothing for Fury, but then again, Austin Theory did nothing for himself either. But the simple thing is, that's just the reality. What you see is what you get. I wish I could say it, but I don't remember it. With all due respect, I don't remember it. It's such a great storyline that he backed off on himself. Ric Flair was a master of looking like a goof. You say, oh, he's got potential and everything, but here's the fun fact. Yeah, so Austin Theory is literally 28 years old in a month and a half's time. You can be all the potential you want. He should be more or less fully established by now. He isn't. To be fair, Ric Flair was in a plane crash. He's allowed to fall on his side. He was in a plane crash and survived. Carmelo Hayes is so damn boring. Grayson Waller's just lucky that he has a believable Australian accent, because fuck me, he's terrible. Oh, he did. If he trusted you. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with either. Like, if you're protecting your body by landing that way, by taking a bump that way, it should never be a reason not to push someone. Like, it's cheap. But you're spot on. That's why I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying, but that's why he, like, I'm just telling you, that's why he obviously done it to his side, because obviously he was in that plane crash. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to talk about, ask away. Like, this is just simply, it's basically just like an ask anything wrestling wise night. What do you think of Lex Luger? He had the look but not the ability. And also he couldn't lead a match to save himself. I think Tiffany Stratton's character is starting to get annoying, and her theme song makes it worse. Tiffany Stratton bores the hell out of me. She bores the living hell out of me. Their choice to lose out. Their choice. Look, no ability. Jade Cargill, yeah. She's got the look but no ability to save herself. Or the charisma. Lex Luger didn't have charisma. He was so heavily pushed as well in 1988 and 89, it was ridiculous. Yes, but the problem is you have to go through their concussion protocols. Their concussion protocols changed heavily because of steel chair shots. So it does come down to that. That's the only thing. They would have to look at those, and nobody really takes it anywhere. Sorry, I've practically said his name already. You can say it if you want. There's no point not saying his name anymore. Lex Luger deserved the push. For what? I'm glad he's still alive and he overcame all his physical ailments, but sorry, I don't think Lex Luger really deserved that much. When he was put in the world title scene, it's just because he was heavy on steroids. Is Hogan the biggest fall from the top to hated in wrestling history outside the obvious? Interesting one. I won't deny that Luger was over. It's just too bad he couldn't bloody wrestle. But I did like his torture rack. Hogan would generally be the biggest fall from the top, yeah. In terms of who else you could mention, I don't think there's anybody that comes close. Maybe Ultimate Warrior. Obviously for pulling a gun out on someone, but that's about it. Grayson needs to be repackaged because he just looks like somebody trying to impersonate Rocky Balboa from Down Under. Arn, Tully. They had... Oh, Bleach, I completely disagree on that. Tully, Arn. You had... They were booking Road Warrior Hawk as a single. You had... In the same time period, one of the Von Erichs was still there. And you had... Nikita and Ivan Koloff. They were all there. Not really. In the mid-card scene, he stood out. In the world main event scene, Lex Luger was awful. Like, I'm not going to change my thing on that. Revisionist history or not. Absolutely not. Like, he literally couldn't. There is one thing that he did, though, bar the torture rack, I did like. His interviews were good. But his matches were fucking awful. He couldn't lead a match to save himself. And if you want to put a look on it, look at his matches with Sting. They're the worst matches of the NWA period for two young main eventers. They were pushed into the right scene. They were dreadful. Warrior was horrible. To be fair, nobody's worth it. If you think you're better than Warrior, it's not really hard. You just need to walk to the ring and you're already better than him. What do you think of Paul London? I think he's a better vet with Rene Dupree. They're both bitter bastards. But Paul London at one point was one of the most exciting wrestlers I've ever seen. But this is so untrue. To be fair, there were so many that were on steroids that were terrible. Which is fundamentally true. Oh, don't start with this. If that's your argument for everything, you've already lost. He's crap. Well, he's not crap, but he's not as good as people think. The problem with Lex Luger is they try to make him into the main eventer that can lead matches, and it doesn't work. Oh yeah, of course it did. 100%. But you also look at the guys who clearly weren't on steroids, and they were so far much more enjoyable to watch. Very obvious one is Ricky Steamboat. Runs circles round all of them. And DiBiase. Brett. Although, to be fair, there's two that were on steroids in the 80s that were horrific. Like, there was two in the 80s that were on steroids that were worse. Oh yeah, they're still getting used. People try to hide it all the time. Easy, kill all three. Kill all three with the same gun, same bullet. Line them up and just shoot them all in the head. I know people still love to talk about that match at WrestleMania 6 to this day. The ending is great, but the match is horrible after, what, 2 minutes? Because Warrior wanted out after 2 minutes. Oh yeah, he has. That is very true. The problem isn't a little bit, it's continuing to use it and not being able to shake it off badly. Hogan. I'm not a massive fan of the WrestleMania 6 match, but I know a lot of people do like it. But for me, when I look at Warrior's only had 4 matches in his entire career that I like. And I've said them before. Yes, and it was terrible. Dennis Rodman was a horrible decision. No, that's not true. That's not true. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Warrior wanted out after 2 minutes. He said it to Hogan. When they were in a lockup, he said, I need to get out here. And Hogan's like, no. Doesn't matter. I'm still getting rid of him. Austin is the biggest draw in the business anyway, so it means no difference to me. And Brett's just the best I've ever seen. But I'm being honest when I'm saying this. I'm not saying, oh, it's a 2-minute match. I'm saying in the lockup, Warrior says, I need to get out of here now. Which is just funny. Where am I denying this crap? I'm not denying anything. What are you on about? Did they find any loopholes around steroid use and abuse? Well, you can always ask Vince. He did beat the government. But, I don't know. They used to test people all the time with their wellness policies, but I don't trust their wellness policy. I don't care. I genuinely don't care what the fans liked in this match. The match was awful. Those same fans would nowadays boo heels and sing their songs. Plain and simple. I'm not letting my hate for Hogan do anything. If I wanted to allow my hate for Hogan to exist, I would hate the one match that I've always loved about Hulk Hogan. There is one Hogan match that I love completely from start to finish that involves him. In fact, there's 4 matches for Hulk Hogan. I think people honestly think that I allow anyone to judge me. Doesn't. Zodiac, yeah, true. Who do you hate more, Hogan or Roman? Still Hogan. Roman just bores me to death. I hate Hogan. Roman bores me. And I've got no interest in him. Bigger difference. Ending wise, 100%. In terms of building to the match and how it goes until the end, Hogan versus Sting sweeps Hogan versus Warrior. But the ending for Hogan versus Warrior and the post-match, like the post-match situation, supersedes Hogan versus Sting. I'll agree to that, but that's it. Hogan versus Sting is generally one of the best built matches of all time. It's just annoying that Hogan, Bischoff could not for the life of them just agree on one simple thing, which was a finish. And even Sting as well, like, Sting should have tried to put his foot down. The match between Sting and Hogan at Super Brawl was even better. That's true. That is true, Bleach. That's one of the worst Mania matches though I've ever seen. Like, that match was so clunky, and it was... That was a match example of when someone clearly isn't mentally prepared, they should not have been allowed in the ring. That was so horrible to watch. And I was watching that show live. One of the few WrestleManias I was like, not overly excited by it, but I was like, you know what, I'll watch. We'll see what happens. And God forbid I wanted to switch off the minute it got to about the 6 minute mark into the match. It's about 6 or 7 minutes, and that's when it all goes downhill. The match was horrible. Like, that match was horrible. It's in my top 3 worst Taker matches I've ever seen. And I've seen, if I'm being honest, I've seen about 8 matches from Taker that I would delete from history. Like, there's 8 matches for The Undertaker I would erase from history. Like that, if I could. Should they have called Over the Edge and not continued after the Owen incident? Yeah, they should have. %100% they should have. And Vince making the whole thing was bad. Making Jim Ross say the show must go on is one of the worst things. Oh yeah, Vince would have called if it was Shane, 100%. 100%. The build for Hogan and Sting was better than the match itself. Starkey was... The match was going fine until you got to the very end. The very end was so bad. I'll never deny that. Like, the horrible ending to this finish, and this would have been, it's arguably the best built match in the history of pro wrestling. And that's me saying something. Authentic, the look, the accent, the time, that's why. Is it really though? Dying in front of 17,000 people? Where you're not checking things properly? They sent that man to his death. Oh yeah, WCW botched the Bret Hart debut with all elements. Like, Bret Hart should have came into WCW and faced Hulk Hogan in his first match. Like, let's be real. In 1997, Bret Hart had more heat than Shawn Michaels. And Hulk Hogan. Who had the biggest downfall in terms of their wrestling ability? This might sound harsh to say, but I honestly do think on this one, For me, the biggest downfall in terms of wrestling ability, if I'm being honest, I was trying so hard not to say him, Maria, but honestly, Abel, there is no general topics on this show tonight. We're just having fun. But this is a seriously good question. I think Maria's right in terms of Brian Pillman, but I'm actually going to say Steve Austin. And it's not downfall that his career ended, but 97 Steve Austin is the best version of Steve Austin in terms of all-round talent. I would honestly have to say either Pillman or Steve Austin. Scott Hall just gave up, but to be fair, his alcoholism killed him. It's horrible. Really bloody horrible. Yeah. Steve Austin after SummerSlam 97, we never saw the real Steve Austin again. Yes, I do. But notice I'm not hating Steve Austin, I'm just saying the truth. Like, 1997 Steve Austin is the second best wrestler at the time, behind Bret Hart. The top three, in my opinion, the three best wrestlers in the world in 1997 were all WWE talent. The fourth was Taz. That's saying something. Don't worry, Billy, I'm coming to your question. For me, the best wrestlers in 1997, Bret Hart, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Taz. After the set out spike pile driver, tombstone pile driver, spike tombstone pile driver, we never saw the real Steve Austin again. He went on and became the biggest draw in wrestling, but we lost the best version of Steve Austin. He was unbelievable. I mean, he literally said it himself. He did, but it was the neck that ruined it. Like, it was the neck that killed it. Bret Hart said in 1996 that Steve Austin was the best wrestler in the WWE. His own interview. They're all great. Kurt Angle obviously wasn't a professional in 1997, but like, Chris Benoit was actually a good professional in 97. But that's when you look at it. The best characters in 97 obviously were the likes of Sting and Taker, Kane, Mankind. But the best wrestlers, Bret, Austin, Michaels, Taz. 100%. Right, let's see, where's this question from Billy? What's he asking? Here's one for you. You're a man who sticks to his opinions and rarely changes. Which wrestlers have changed your opinion of them for the good after you started hating them? Some of them I just didn't really understand them, but I gave them a chance. So there's a few. I'll be honest. So number one. In fact, I'm going to bring them up on screen. I will bring them up all on screen. Now, I didn't hate them for these gimmicks, but it was the wrestler in general. The reverse one, I refuse to answer. Yeah, he took 10 German suplexes. This is one of them. Because I hated the Jamal gimmick. The Jamal gimmick in 2003 was just... well, 2002, 2003, I just thought it was absolutely dreadful. This one might shock you, but it took me a while to get used to this guy. And I've met this guy, and I can say that comfortably to my face. There's one. There's 5. I'll put them all up here right now, so there's 5 of them. Number 3. That I didn't like. But then I changed my mind. To be fair, I didn't hate Eric Young when I met him. I stopped hating on him around 2000 and... like late 2007. So for the first couple of years of TNA, I just really hated him. I thought he was bland as fuck. So it was about 2007 onwards when he started feuding with Bobby Roode. So the third one... and I'm a big fan of this guy. Because they own the character now and he works for WWE. Gregory Helms. He was one. Bored the living death out of me. Number 4. I won't lie. MVP. But that didn't last long. And then the 5th one. No, he never did, but he still works for them. That's why he's in the game. And it's a good thing that they put him in the game. But to answer about the... yeah, there's something about... when Omos went to Japan, I was like, you know what, I see something in this guy. Japan used him properly. WWE did not, because WWE don't know how to use big men. Anymore. Yeah. Mustafa Ali, always liked Mustafa Ali. I've always liked him. The SummerSlam match was incredible. It's better than the Unforgiven match. Jake Roberts, to be fair, he just got lazy. But for the liking ones, I've already said their names on here before, and I'm not going back over it. That's why I'm not bringing up this one. Much bigger difference. I'm not going through that again. I hate the bloody Spirit Squad. But I did like him from the start. You know who I didn't hate? This might shock you. I never hated Muhammad Hassan. Pete Williams I liked from day one. Pete Williams was so damn good. If they knew how to use him properly, he would have been thriving. Rusev, I mean, He is basically just using an AEW gimmick in WWE, and he's sitting in catering, so at least we know that he's got a special look. I've never liked him, to be fair. I didn't like when they turned him into Maple Leaf Muscle, though. I didn't like that gimmick change, but it still kept him relevant in TNA at their best period. But I've always liked Pete Williams. Like, the guy can do everything. He was so fun. Chris Harris, I went off him quite a while. No. She's awful.
Take someone like Ali. He sounded like absolute dog shit in the mic pretty much all of his crew, except for now with his prison gimmick, and I thought he killed it at pot. The problem is, he's never been bad on the mic. They just gave him nothing good to do. And it's their own fault because they're fucking morons. I think Jake Roberts is one of the wrestling's biggest what ifs next to Hall, if next to Hall in terms of main event perfect. I don't think he's a what if. Because we already saw what he could do if you put him in that position. I mean, you could, but what are you bringing them back to do? There's nothing there for him. Yeah, that's my face of fuck this crap. The only thing is at least he's actually more believable with what you do. See, if you buy into someone, you actually give them something to do, they'll actually thrive. That's Mustafa Ali. That man went from retribution to getting retribution by leaving the death sentence. If I was working with someone like Dijak in that shitty fucking group, I'd be wanting to shoot myself every day. What, Mansoor? I hate that faction. That is the clowniest faction I've ever seen. That faction, I would have taken them behind a woodshed and shot them all. He could replace Andrade, Santos, Escobar, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo, save more money, have a great star. I mean, the only thing is fuck that guy. You bring him in, it'll raise a lot of eyebrows. I don't personally think there's anything much you can do with Alberto Del Rio now, and I don't think they're going to bring him in anyway. I don't think they will. A proper super Latino babyface. They're going to give it to Dominic Dirty Sanchez with his paedophile mustache Mysterio. Mark my words. It's serious to many in terms of enjoying. You can have fun, but there's also a reality to it. You really don't want this answer. Put it that way. I'm always right. I told you WWE would not treat them properly. Fucking spanners that they are. Literally my favourite tag team of this fucking century so far that I've seen. And they've been made to look like donuts. Yeah, you do. But that's not what it's for anymore. Motorcycle Machine Gun should have went to AEW. They should have went to AEW. DIY should never have got back together. I'm going to say something true on this one. I'm going to stand by it. The only star in DIY is Tommaso Ciampa. I still stand by on what I said about this whole thing. I still stand by on what I said about this. Because what I said wasn't wrong. Like, reality, what I said, if I have to rehash it, I will. If I have to say it again, I will say it again. But what I said isn't actually wrong. People just have horrible ears. Maybe I suggest you use some, I don't know, ear plugs or whatever it is or something like that. So, or whatever you use to clean your own ears. I mean, whatever you want to do that. But I've got my own things. I've seen too many Scott Hall incidents, put it that way. Oh, that's lovely. Took them fucking long enough. Here's the funny thing. I like those two. I know, I meant the actual ear things. You know what I mean. Not earbuds. It's because I took mine out earlier on. That has nothing to do with me. I don't want to forget it because I wasn't wrong. The funny thing is, and this is how I know people are extremely obtuse and deaf, is I quoted TV. Zoe Stark needs to be told, you are finished. Was Hercules any good? No, but he had a good look. Like, he had a good look, but he wasn't particularly good. Zoe Stark couldn't even dethrone our standing drop kick. Zoe Stark is finished, mate. They got rid of a better wrestler to keep Zoe Stark. I knew Catherine would come in all hatred. But, yeah. What the hell? What's this? Oh, hello. What's this? Alright, that doesn't matter. You can like Zoe, I just think Zoe's not that good. I saw the incident about a week and a half later. True, she can injure herself doing a spinning dropkick. I'll give her that. That is cool. Either way, it's not good for Zoe Stark. I think Zoe Stark was going somewhere, but this injury will set her back tenfold. That's just my opinion. This injury will set her back tenfold. It won't do her anything. Ivy Nile, she's okay. I feel like they're not going to do anything with her. I think she's just lucky to be there. Probably the big chins. I don't know. She has a strong chin like Ivory. Exactly, Catherine. To be honest, I think they missed a good trick, to be fair. Ivy Nile and Jordan Grace in a tag team. I mean, you put a pit bull with a juggernaut. I suppose. Or is that a pit bull with a Rottweiler? I don't know. Yeah, WWE do not know what they're doing with tag teams. And they haven't for a long time. He won it a long time ago, but he hasn't had it since. He hasn't had it in like 4 years, Billy. Well, 3 years actually. Sorry. Scott Hall completely ruined himself in that period. Like, he lost himself badly. Jordan Grace is going to the SmackDown brand soon, though. Sadly, Karrion Kross is going to lose in like 5 to 8 minutes to Sammy Political Ass Zayn. Karrion Kross is literally going to get buried on Saturday. Jordan Grace is definitely ready to go on that show. Problem is they don't know what to do with her. It doesn't make a difference. She's only what? She's in NXT just to lose to that Blake Monroe, which is just not funny anyway. I never understood that chase you. Jordan can talk. She just doesn't talk the way they want her to talk. It's a storytelling company that hasn't told a good story in years. I wouldn't count your chickens on that. I mean, she sells her bathwater, so you buy it and find out, and you tell me. Wesley, he's going nowhere. She went on that because she got so obsessed with powerlifting. The real Jordan Grace was when she was that big mama, like, well, the Scott Steiner lookalike, but yeah. Shut up, Catherine. Absolute stupid take. And like I said, she can talk, but she doesn't talk the way that they want her to. Plain and simple. Lola Vice, she's got some potential, but she's boring as fuck. Jada Parker, she's got something. I don't know what she has though, but she's got something. Wesley hasn't meant anything since he turned heel. The minute he turned heel, that was it. Yeah, she went to WWE. I want to sell Mom Bath for her, like Sydney Sweeney. She's had a few. It was a while ago though. Like, I'm saying it truthfully, a while ago. Shop NXT, I think. Although, to be fair, you want to buy their bath. It's bathwater as a soap. If you want to go and buy it, go ahead. Weird shit though. Like, weird shit. But hey, you can do that, so. I don't freaking know. I've got my fucking power shower at home. I don't want our bath water. Maybe, I don't know. At least we know for certain. She's only their best star because they couldn't produce anyone else, so they had to bring stars in. Like, that's actually a symbol of why their performance center is not working. In terms of women, there aren't many on there that are like better than her. That JC Jane, how she's still in a job, I will never understand. She's dreadful. They kept her but got rid of Gigi Dolan. It's disgusting. But I will never understand that. Ever. I'm not surprised. This is just the way it goes. You get booted out. You start one of them. Basically, boring. Because there's nothing special about him. Like, simply put, he's the same height as Dave Meltzer, and he's not as scary as. Put it this way, Davey Richards is just a short, buzz cut, over muscular little bitch. He's just lucky that he had a tag team partner that was hiding his weaknesses. You can thank Eddie Edwards for Davey Richards holding the world championship. But JC Jane is a fucking fraud. Not kidding. Lash Legend should go back to Hooters. Undeniable is a bit of a stretch. You could say potential, but not undeniable. They're all the same. Honestly, it's like turning on a computer and you're modding your character for the first time. And you're just developing it, and here's the one that just bores me to death. That was Gigi Dolan, and she wasn't playing up her suicidal thoughts at all. She's been on NXT for 9 years. Not a proud thing. Nah, Cora Jade, she spoke about body shaming. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if she spoke about suicidal thoughts, but I'm pretty sure Gigi Dolan brought it up as well in a tweet. But Cora Jade, or Elena Black now, she's going by again. She was talking a lot about body shaming. But to be fair, she was going around the roster like a football, so she was getting passed about from one position to the next. I did say that the other day. To be fair, if I'm being kept in a development brand for all these years and I'm not going anywhere, and eventually you get the chance in your ninth run, well, your ninth year of going, I would be the same. Frankly, she's been in that fucking area for too long. How she didn't get onto the main roster after 3-4 years? That's not a good sign. Like, that's not a good sign. Whether you want to accept that or not, it's the truth. Like, you should, like, if you're held there that long, then they either don't have a lot of faith in you, or you need to be repackaged so many times that so many Christmas families can't get around you. I feel like Jacy Jane had no idea. She was the third wheel in her previous faction, which says a lot. I feel like they don't know what they're doing. Now, I watched that feud with Gigi Dolan, and you could see clear as day who the better one was. There was a few things mentioned. End of the day, it's not something worthwhile to bring up. Hopefully she doesn't kill anybody. And that's not me trolling. I say that like as in hopefully she doesn't kill anyone. Because that was horrible. I don't even remember who Wendy Chu is, so I won't even respond on that one, to be honest. I don't even remember who she is. Cody Rhodes will turn heel, be Homelander, and be bored around. Oh, for that, yeah, 100%. Sonny had more shots on target than most mines. What on earth are you talking about? What closed mind? Because I said I don't remember who she is. What are you on about? I don't remember who she is, which says a lot. That's nothing about closed minds. That's just I don't remember who she is. You say the name and I have to go and look up, and I'm just not bothering. Don't remember who she is. And WWE will not do PG characters anymore because no one's demanding them. And if you want to demand them, go and try. They're not making an effort on that. And that's a fact. PG died a long time ago. And you can bank on that. Too bad, because there's a few that I would do right now. John Cena still is the Cena we all grew to love, but he's going through it a lot. The day Cena goes, I will have the biggest smile on my face. Not kidding. When he goes, I will have the biggest smile you'll ever see. From me, anyway. I know people love him. God, I hate him. So I won't even respond to that one. You can't look it up. My weird hatred to NXT. You've got no idea. You have no idea. I'm pretty sure Wendy Choo, you know the chick with the pigtails. I just don't remember. I don't have time to go look. I can comfortably tell you where I was, Billy. Looking at him, telling my friends beside me, this is fucking boring. Your thoughts on Taker putting over Ludwig Kaiser, calling him a future top guy in wrestling? When did he say that? Did he? No, but I should have done, Billy. I should have done, but I didn't. Yup, that's true, Billy. That's true, Abel. What's up, James? It's been a long time. But the real question is, who's better than Canyon? No one. Wow, okay, let me go find this. This I need to see. Ludwig Kaiser is a strange one because I don't even know what you do with him. That's one of the worst matches I've watched this year, to be honest. I'm good, James. It's good to see you. It's been quite a while, my friend. Ludwig Kaiser. Alright, there we go. A 3.2k short. Let's listen to this one then. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. The funny thing is, see when it comes to Ludwig Kaiser, he's a strange one. Because right there, if there's one thing that WWE love to portray, is anyone who's not American quintessentially is the enemy. There's no disrespect, it's just a fact. But I would be like, as a heelish character, maybe not a main eventer, but as a mid carder, I did say that he should have been in the IC title hunt. Like, he was one of the guys I thought, for Braun Breaker as an IC title opponent. Ludwig Kaiser was one of the names I listed. I think he's got the potential to be a good IC or US champion, and I would love to see him insult the US title. Like, not saying like desecrate it, but like do what Kevin Owens did when he declared himself like Canadian champion, or do what MJF did to the international title. He just called it the All American title. I would like Ludwig Kaiser to just say this is the All German title. You know what I mean? Like he just replaced the US title with a German flag. I think he's got the ability to do that. The problem is they're not gonna do it. I would be all in for that. Ludwig Kaiser with a German title. It would be fucking cool. But here's the thing. That's creativity in less than 2 minutes. And WWE can't even do that in, 3 years when he's been on the main roster? Questions. I'm good, big man. I won't miss seeing it all personally. I've never been a fan, but even I can't tell how much he is loved by a large section younger audience. Like Hogan was whatever we think. True. That is true. No. Yeah. I mean, I literally said it on my wrestling show the other day that I did with Nathan and Julio that they should just, if they're so obsessed by signing midfielders, just play a system that doesn't include a striker and you just play a false 9 with a number 10. That Norgard is a decent player though. I just don't tolerate dislike what CM Punk and Cody has for Vince. If Cena and Triple H still has that, then why not them? Even The Rock and Stone Cold still loves Vince. CM Punk, to be fair, hasn't always liked Vince, and he will never forgive him for 2014. Cody, on the other hand, I don't know. Oh yeah, those were so cool. Like Muhammad Hassan was great up until they started having him do all the beheading shit. Great Muta, incredible foreign character, and he was not really much of a heel until he went up against Sting. Nikita Koloff, Ivan Koloff, The Sheik, Iron Sheik, they were all brilliant. No. Not for me. Oh yeah. And they already did. There was a Nazi gimmick once. I'd pay money to see Reece in the writer's room. You'd lose your shit quick in a Goldberg match. That's because I would demand all those irrelevant, talentless clowns to be fired. And I would bring in people that actually understand how to write and have fun. At the end of the day, I think they're just writing because they're sad, or they're all having circle jerks and not being good. Plain and simple. But the Death Rider's the worst main event faction ever. No, there's one or two that I would say are worse. Like, much worse. Jey Uso would be thrown into the fucking sea Immortal is 100% one of the, for me, the two worst is Immortal and Aces and Eights. Nexus was crap. I actually think the core was worse. But Immortal was an embarrassment. The front line was embarrassing. Ugh, of course you did, Billy, you saddle. That faction was horrible. He would be killed in 5 minutes. They kept... Every reveal was someone who didn't deserve to be there. This faction annoyingly had potential, but then they stacked it so big that it was so bad. And it had Hogan in it. But they stacked it so badly that it lost its steam. Like, you look at the original members of Immortal. Hogan, Bischoff, Jarrett, Abyss, Jeff Hardy. So that's the Immortal side. Then you had All of Fortune. So Ric Flair, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, James Storm. You had Kazarian. Then you had Robbie T. You had Doug Williams. Insane. They overstacked it. And then they brought in Bully Ray. Then they brought in Scott Steiner. And they added Gunner, Murphy. It was so horrible. It was a cheap parody of Bullet Club. It was such a cheap parody. Yeah, Ric Flair was an Immortal. Who was it that was interviewed by Chris Van Vliet recently? He said about how excited they were for Hogan, how Hogan they were, and buried them all. It wasn't AJ, it wasn't Scott Steiner. It wasn't Jay Lethal because he got rid of him quickly. I'm not sure. I'll need to check. But yeah, Ric Flair was an Immortal. Yeah. Because Ric Flair, when that whole faction started, Kevin Nash quit TNA. It might have been Eric Young. I don't know. I haven't listened to an interview in a wee while, so I'm not sure. That WCW channel's been cool. I think it's funny that the WWE Vault only exists because of TH14. That channel purely exists because of TH14, which is absolutely brilliant. Eric Young's a really nice man. I think he needs to retire though, but he's a nice guy. I had a really lovely privilege of speaking about him. I like the faction with Booker T, Kevin Nash, Kurt Angle, and Sting, but they bootlegged WCW's NW and Wolfpack. Yeah, that was main event Mafia. Scott Steiner as well. TNA fumbled and buried Nigel. James Storm. He could have been so much more from a single side. Nigel, to be fair, he had a brilliant start. The problem is he got a bad injury, and that's why he never went to. That's why he never went to WWE. That's why he retired. He got an arm injury, and then that was it. His feud with Kurt Angle is one of the best I've seen. Does what? Hmm. There's so many factions nowadays in wrestling that doesn't work. Gunner was awful, but Murphy was worse. To be fair, I hated what was said about James Storm the minute he debuted in NXT. Who, Gunner? Don't know. May have done. I go back and watch that all the time on TNA Plus. I love that period. Like, even some of the stuff from early years. But when it officially became a weekly TV show in June 2004, so good. Oh, I don't think he did get hepatitis. No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Matt Morgan was a massive WWE fumble. Nathan Jones, he was in, like, he looked scary, but they didn't do anything with him. Matt Morgan, natural ability for a 7-footer. Like, people say like Brock Lesnar shouldn't have moved how fast he moved for a big man. Matt Morgan's the same. Matt Morgan should not have been able to move how quick he moved for his height and his weight. Like, it's crazy. He should have been a world champion. I hated that he was added to the main event Mafia. That pissed me off. I would have killed the faction that day the minute he joined. They should have killed the faction. America's Most Wanted. They're the third greatest tag team for me in TNA. But I love that tag team. Like, my top 5 TNA tag teams of all time. I don't think you can argue a position or replacement from any of them. Absolutely, James. Absolutely. Like, my top 5 TNA tag teams of all time truly stepped the beat. Probably. Probably Bleach. He did. Then he went to WWE and they used him for 2 matches and went, actually, this is not worth it, and they got rid of him after 2 matches. It's a shame because I liked Chris Harris. Like, I really liked him. I did not like that blindfold match at Lockdown. That was so crap. They should never have done that. They should have just let them have a cage match or an I Quit match inside the cage. But nah, they ruined that. That was horrible. They should just stop calling themselves the Young Bucks and just call themselves the Bucks. But they'll continue to stay because they'll want to keep doing what they can for the organization. That's all it is really for them. When I look at early years, like for me between 02 and 09, or even up to 2010, tag team wrestling was the best in TNA by a mile. And I owe that to Beer Money, Motorcycle Machine Guns, America's Most Wanted, The Naturals, and LAX. They're my five favorite. They're my top five TNA tag teams of all time. And by LAX, I mean the second version, Homicide and Hernandez. Cheers, James. The Naturals don't get enough credit for me. I love the Naturals. They were such a great team. With and without Shane Douglas, they were so good. And you had other fun teams like Lethal Consequences. They were fun. James Storm's TNA World title run was the best run TNA. Not a chance. What is your favourite title holder ever? You can choose any company. Bobby Roode's title run was... It's in my top three. Like, I really liked his run, but it's not my favourite. But I loved Bobby Roode as champion. He was the best heel in 2011, 2012. Even just all of 2012, to be honest, he was the best heel. But your favourite title holder, so from every company, but your favourite title holder. Honestly, it's two, and it's obvious. Yes, I will be. To be honest, it's two. Picking between these two, it's hard. I can't do it. So it's still Brett and Kurt. Plain and simple. Kurt specifically for TNA and Brett for WWE. I just can't. I can't separate the two of them. I can't. Mm-hmm. Great theme song. I also liked how controversial Bobby Roode was in 07-08 with Eric Young, Tracy Brooks, and then Booker T with Sharmell. Even Peyton Banks, that man did not care. He didn't care if you're a man or a woman, you were getting punched. I remember that segment when he tried to square up to Tracy Brooks and all that, and then Jim Cornette nearly lost 7 or 8 blood vessels. Better champ between Shane Douglas and ECW or Bobby Roode and TNA? Bobby Roode. Shane Douglas is one of my favourite ECW champions though, but Bobby Roode without a doubt. Bobby Roode made you want to... Bobby Roode made you want to hate something. That man basically commanded you wanted to kill him. Who do you think was the dark horse of Ring of Honor? Jay Briscoe. I'd say it's Jay Briscoe personally if you're wanting to talk about dark horse. It was a fun rivalry. Their lockdown match was 100% the best match they had. I look at his entire feud and I hated that they had him lose to Austin Aries. That's the only thing that was wrong with his feud. Sorry, his title run. Sorry, the only thing that was wrong with it was him losing to Austin Aries. And it's not because he was bad or nothing. It's just that it was the wrong choice. It's understandable, James. As a world champion, it's hard not to not say Ric Flair. For Ring of Honor, maybe. Better heel run, Raven and ECW or Bobby Roode and TNA? I love Bobby Roode, but I have to go with Raven. Raven was incredible. Yeah, he did. He did. I just hated that it was him when, quite frankly, it shouldn't have been him. For me, he was the wrong decision. I still go back and watch that Iron Man match with AJ. 30 minutes was too short. That should have went 60 minutes. But that, like, Bobby Roode was brilliant for, like, brawling or technical wrestling. He was unreal. Like, he was deceptive. And I hate that he had an established gimmick and then WWE ruined him. Austin Aries was better than Bobby Roode. I don't know. I don't think he was. Good wrestler though, but I think Bobby Roode was better. He's lost them all, went through it all. Do you think the Hardys will win the belts from the Nemeths? No. And they shouldn't. Like the Hardys should not take the belts from the Nemeths. They've had a run, it was a decent run, but no, they shouldn't. Yeah, I agree with that, James. Austin Aries' own problem is Austin Aries is his own downfall. Good wrestler though, but I don't think he was better than Bobby Roode. They had him right where they wanted him as well. Good position. I miss Matt Bennett, to be honest. I thought he was cool in the early 2000s. Hold on. Right, where's my Twitch app? Absolutely Bleach. Bit too far. Who was more dominant, Prime Taz in ECW or Prime Samoa Joe in TNA? Honestly, Prime Taz. Because they turned Samoa Joe into a laughingstock after he won the world title, whereas Taz wasn't a laughingstock. Although you're missing Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is the greatest, to be honest. Kurt Angle and AJ are the two greatest for like TNA all time. Even Amazing Red. Amazing Red's so up there. Darby Allin's just gonna. I think he'll just become their Sting. You know what I mean? Like he'll just follow it in that way. We'll see what happens with him. Like, even like Josh Alexander was perfect for TNA. I think a mistake that TNA had is they kept PCO for so long. God, he was trash. So damn horrible. Oh yeah. Absolutely loved that Suicide character. It was quality. Especially with his feud with the Guns. And his feud with Homicide. What's up, Diego? Good to see you. Oh, Matt Morgan was great. Magnus was decent until they put him in the main event Mafia, and then that Dixieland crap. That was the one. Dixie Carter should have been kicked out of her own company for that at that time. But let's see Diego's questions. So, are current wrestling script writers responsible for crafting storylines? Are the shows better nowadays or previously? The current content right now isn't particularly great. Instead of weekly scripts, should they have longer term scripts? Well, they try to do long term, but the problem is if you can't do anything good short term, the long term doesn't work. The Hardys should not hold the tag titles again. The Northern Armory should be feuding for the gold with the Rascals. That's it. The Hardys should not win it again. Yeah, Robbie E was the Fallen Angel was perfect in the X Division. He was awesome. PCO can go and suck a dick. Christopher Daniels is one of my favorite X Division wrestlers ever. Robbie E can go be a Robert Stone and stay on NXT where he belongs. Elix Skipper was great in those days as well. The old divisions were perfect. Very interesting choice. The bromans were horrible. That was so bad. That's true. Dixie Carter is one of the worst on-screen villains I've ever seen that was an owner. Every time she spoke, I wanted to start drinking. And I don't drink alcohol, but like she would have driven me to alcohol if I had something near me. Put it that way. So damn terrible. And she looked so fake. Oh yeah, 100%. Stephanie McMahon was so much better. The Northern Armory don't deserve to be anywhere near the TNA Tag Division, Tag Team titles. That's a bit harsh. I think they're good enough. I think they're good enough to be champions. I think they're good chasers for a while, and then eventually win it. Them, the Great Hands, the Rascals. Dixie was awful. Dixie was genuinely awful. She should never have came on TV. So horrible. And see, every time she spoke, honestly, every time she spoke, forget drive me to alcohol. But I set myself on fire. I mean, I could imagine that Bleach, but then I also think about reality circumstance, and that would be a lot of hell to endure. Oh, another 2 subs. Christ, where are they all coming from? Thanks, folks. I need some Pepsi. Stephanie McMahon's got a fair amount of knowledge of the wrestling business. Dixie Carter's knowledge is just to disagree with everybody who knew about wrestling, but still listen to Vince Russo. Dumbass. The minute if she honestly wins the title, retire it for good. I'm not kidding. I don't care who holds it, but if she wins that title, that division to me is dead. I think the Good Hands would be quality. Bleach, I would endorse that just for entertainment. I think the Northern Armory in time will be good champions. They need to obviously continue to keep working their way up, but they are good. I think they're good enough. Tell you one thing, the whole EV2 thing lasted longer than it should have done. It wasn't too bad. Steve Macklin's a babyface. He's a babyface. See ya. That's true. Only because they didn't know what to do with them. Heidenreich was that was just horrible. Snitsky was bizarre, but could have been something interesting. Matt Morgan and Sean O'Haire are fumbles, big fumbles. It was the champions. It was the champion showcase. So because he's a champion, he had to team up with them. So basically, all the champions were on one side. Macklin got he turned on that team, then got booted for it. So all the main champions right now are basically heels. So that's the only problem. He was teaming them because of that, but he is a babyface. Pretty much. That whole Michael Cole thing was that was just weird. Honestly, James, only if he leaves the company. AJ Styles with Kenny Omega is the only one left. Unless Brock Lesnar comes back to wrestling, you could say Braun Breaker versus Brock Lesnar, but that's about it. From them anyway. But I don't know. Who would you let run your own wrestling company, Shane or Stephanie? Ooh. Truth be told, I think they both have a great knowledge of wrestling, but I wouldn't let either of them run my own company if I was an owner. I wouldn't let either of them do it. I don't think Brock Lesnar versus Gunther is a dream match, to be honest. If I had to pick one, though, I can't differ from it. I would probably pick Shane over Stephanie. Because at least I'm guaranteed to not have that baldy close to me at all. But if I had to choose one, though, I would probably choose Shane. I'll go about another 5 minutes. That's true. That is very true. Oh, okay. That's not bad. Ryback is a pussy. Ooh. Oh, Maria, that's a killer one. If you had to choose to sign either Batista or Brock Lesnar, I really like Batista, but I stand by what I said not long ago. Brock Lesnar's the last major star WWE had that could keep going. And I mean, like, major star. I would honestly pick Brock. But I love Batista. Batista was awesome, but Lesnar. People say Shawn Michaels could have a 5-star match with a broomstick. AJ Styles could have a 5-star match with a broomstick. Brock Lesnar, those guys are basically broomsticks to Brock Lesnar. In terms of height and size and all that stuff. But Brock Lesnar was a brilliant worker. Brilliant presence. I think he had a lot more. Obviously, Batista squashes Brock Lesnar on the mic. But this is just in general enjoyment of the ring. Brock Lesnar is always enjoyable to watch. Unless it's constantly wrestling with bloody... Unless you're having to watch him constantly wrestle Roman Reigns and you just want to get away. But Batista and Brock for the world title would have been fun. We should have had at least once Brock Lesnar versus Batista on the main roster. Longer than just a cameo in the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I was rewatching a few Lesnar matches earlier. Yeah, I'll go another 3 minutes. 2 hours 45 and then I'm definitely wrapping up for the night. Because I need to have a shower and chill before Dynamite, which I'm reviewing tomorrow. We'll see how that one goes. Oh yeah, like Brock Lesnar was basically like a hired assassin with 2 hands. Someone of his height, speed, well, his height and weight, his body shape in general, he should never been able to move that fast. It's insane. I believe he was right. If I was in Steve Austin's position, I would have done the exact same thing. I actually think he was right. I don't think he was wrong. Yep. Paid for with German suplexes and F5s. I'll take 2 more questions and then I'm going. Funny? Well, the reaction was funny. The reaction was actually definitely funny. But the whole thing was wild. Oh, it was definitely an accident, though. But I love the way they sold the return though. Like the way he returned was so good. Bret Hart basically gave up on it after he won it. He didn't care, so Kurt Angle. Like Bret was like, alright, I won this, thank you. Moving on. Kurt at least carried on for a bit. So yeah, Kurt. One more question. Yes. Definitely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Actually, I'll give that one. AJ versus Kenny. Brock versus Braun. That's it. I hate that. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you all 7 p.m. UK time tomorrow. Bye, guys.